welcome back, everybody. This is our third edition of Concussion Sub Series. Very excited today about topic and also how India is placed in the second Test match. Firstly, hopefully everybody had a fantastic holiday and a peaceful weekend. Time to get chance with your family to regroup going into the next year. Compared to last weekend, I think this weekend people will be much more relaxed and happy because last week was a debacle of first test match, and this weekend, we are in the brink of leveling the Australia series, which is pretty huge. And Rohit Sharma to come, I think we are nicely set up for the four test match series. Okay, so today's topic, captaincy leadership, all about cricket. I am so excited. Number one, because all three of the panelists in the team right now who are on are were part of the corporate cricket team I was playing in. I had the privilege to play with them, which is number one. That's why I'm interested in hearing their thoughts about what they think about leadership and cricket. And number two, we've before this session we've asked in our group to put in questions for the panelists, and by far this has been the most popular segment because we had around 17 questions coming our way. So
Wow.
stay tuned, should be real fun. So that's about the level tech context, etc. So why don't we jump right into the introductions, starting with Wev.
All right, thank you for that, Suman. I think it's a really fantastic show that you're putting together. Very excited to be part of it. Want to thank all of you who felt that it's important to include me as well. So thank you, everybody, to start with. A quick introduction about myself. I've been in the corporate world, specifically in banking, for close about 20 years, but I'm not going to bore all of you with that. I would like to talk more about my cricket. I've been born and brought up in Mumbai, and I played probably the first 20 years of my life. I just played, the gully cricket, as they call it, as in small grounds. And if any of you are from Mumbai, you would associate with the MRI brand rubber ball and then MRI brand white tennis ball, right? It was a little hard tennis ball. Used to play that day in, day out, right? The love for the game was always there, but never really played leather ball cricket until I actually moved to Chennai somewhere around 2002, 2003. I was a bowler. I used to bowl, I used to open, but when I started bowling with a leather ball, it was something completely different, right? And when I came to Bangalore, the passion for the game grew much, very high. I wanted to play more. Fortunately, I got a chance to play with when I was at Deutsche Bank. I was able to also lead the team over there. The hunger just went on exponentially from there. Then joined JP. We got Santosh over here. 7 years with JP, and there also got to play non-stop cricket over there. And uh, fortunately, still able to continue playing. The hunger is not satiated. So watching on one side, also playing. Fingers crossed, hoping to continue play for at least the next few years, as long as my body supports. So that's the passion.
No, that's awesome. And before you joined in, Ajay PK wrote your intro on the invite, and he said Vivek Vasudevan, great cricket analyzer. He probably analyzed cricket in every single fielding position on the ground. So it's fantastic. Awesome. All right, SD.
Thanks, Suman. Thanks, Viv. So, hello all. SD. So that's how Suman calls me, Srikanth Deshmukh. It's my actual name. So I'm called with various nicknames on and off the field, right? So I mean, the cricket where it started to me was quite some time back during class four. Started with leather ball cricket in a small club in Bangalore. Later on, developed the game to represent a few clubs at Division 4, Division 3, and up until Division 2 level. So it's been quite some time. I stopped the league cricket due to a few other deviations and few other priorities taking precedence. But yes, of late it's been 2 years since when I have been associated with academy called Sheen Sports Alliance, quite near to my place. So I practice there, one for passion and one with the hope that I may get a chance to play a league sometime in the nearest future, and I'll be ready for it. Right. At the same time, I do kind of take a lot of pleasure in helping out few kids over there if they need help in guidance, especially especially mainly on the talking aspect, right? Typically how they need to think about themselves, about the game, about the opponent, about the situation, multiple things associated with on the field, right? And our head coach is Vasanta Jayashekara. He's a Sri Lankan, and he's my neighbor too. So he's quite close to Janis Jayasuriya and few other people, and luckily got some chances to kind of take a live look at Jayasuriya and Dave Watmore a few times. Yeah, pretty much in touch with the game. Wicket keeper and opening batsman. Have enjoyed a lot opening the innings with Santosh. Have enjoyed a lot studying the innings with Vivek, right? And behind the scenes, I mean, it was always a pleasure, and in the under the captaincy of Santosh, and then people supporting me, right? I mean, either the banter I do or abuse I do to the batsman, as in I was never pulled down, right? I mean, that gave me more liberty to kind of free up my mind and then do the keeping to the best. That's about me.
That's awesome. And it is also good to know that you're spending so much time coaching kids or giving kids the opportunity to learn what you're good at. Really pleased to hear that. So before we turn to Santu, quick question for you. So who's the best keeper on the circuit? Because I know you are the wicket keeper for Jaguars. So across the globe, who is the best keeper in today's era?
Well, currently the playing person, I would say Tim Payne is someone who impressed me a lot, because after Dhoni punt, as in he's still picking up, uh, and I haven't closely watched any other wicket keeper apart from Tim Payne. But to me, I would say Tim Payne would be the best at the moment.
Okay, fair enough. All right, Santu.
Hello, all. Thanks, Suman, for giving an opportunity to be on this show. When Water Players got started in as a social media platform to discuss about cricket, we never thought that we would open up a YouTube channel and we would also represent being one of the people who talk about cricket. Um Taking my journey back, I was pushed into cricket ground when I was 7 years old by my father. My dad used to play for divisions back then in 70s and 80s. So he wanted his son to be pursuing the same passion what he had as well. So if I look back and then see if I played cricket, it is because of my dad who actually pushed me at that early age. From then onwards, my journey started with the schooling cricket, where I led my school cricket for one of the famous tournaments in Bangalore. That's called as BT Ramaya Trophy. Post that in college also, I led for about a couple of years. Then corporate life. It's been 17 years in corporate and still going strong. Led quite a few teams, played divisions, upper and lower, play for open tournaments even today because the corporates are closed as of now due to pandemic. So still in touch with cricket, still in touch with the knocks that I used to have before. So happy to be here, Suman. Thank you.
That's great. That's great. So why don't we jump right in then? We can start with you, Santu. So all three of you aware that cricket is the first love. That's why we are here. But leadership and captaincy. So when did it first occur to you that you are built for making it to Jaguars cricket captain or want to become Jaguars cricket captain?
So that was an opportunity that I had to grab, especially with Jaguars, right? So somebody wanted to actually build a team, and somebody had to leave in between, and that's when an opportunity I saw that this team requires a leader who can lead from the front, because somebody who can pull all the players together, having one aim in your mind, and then going towards it, right? That is something that I always do. And I think we was eager to actually pull me down in all these things, because I used to chase each and every player the night before the match, just to make sure that I have my playing 11, which I already had thought of. I have those people on the ground, so that my motive was only to win the match and then go back happy.
Mm.
So when you talk about corporate, basically you want to enjoy your weekend and then go back peacefully.
Yeah.
At the same time, you also are pursuing your passion. So when you talk about captaincy and leadership, both goes hand in hand. So a good leader can also become a good captain, but a good captain cannot become a good leader, is what I think.
Okay, that's interesting. There are a couple of questions on that topic, so we'll come back to that. So, what about Srikanth and Viv? What does leadership position or captaincy mean to you, or did you ever
Yeah,
feel that you will be captain or you want to be captain of a cricket
well,
team?
I think leadership is very important, right? I would say in Hindi, right? ताली में कोई सजा के नहीं देता leadership, right? Need to earn for it. No one will give a ready-made plate of leadership for you. You need to kind of grab things and then collate on your plate and then make yourself a leader, right?
Mhm.
In cricket, I think the captain or a leader needs to have a few qualities like need to be able to convince professionally, contradict professionally, consider professionally, care, give caution, and then communicate with the players, right? So, I mean, not all of them to 100%, but I would say on an average, all these aspects should be kind of meeting somewhere around 95 to 90 to 95% approximately, right? So now that's the key qualities what I think a captain should have in cricket, right? Uh, Leader, right? A leader is more of a, see, captain is more of a execution role in the game. Leader is more of a mind game, right? How you lead the people and how you kind of captain the team is, though it sounds quite similar. I would lead a team. I'm a leader if I'm able to kind of understand my team first, because the people are coming from different locations and with different cultural and education and a lot of uh, different kind of background with different mentality. Right now, we need to kind of pull in these people into one group called a playing 11, and a different group called a substitute or a 12th man, right? And then kind of we need to kind of calibrate the 12th man, the playing 11 in the same level, so there is no inferiority or a superiority complex in the team, right? And once people are in playing 11, all these aspects, like I need to convince the team, okay, why I'm taking a decision of winning the toss and then batting first or bowling first. If they say no, you should have batted, then I need to contradict what they're thinking, that this is my thought, this is the condition, this is xyz, hence this is my approach. I need to be able to kind of professionally contradict and consider their advice too, on the ground, off the ground, and care for their feelings. I would say feelings is not only about emotional feelings. I mean, feelings is about their ideas, care for their ideas,
Mm.
caution them at the right time, right? Game wise caution, it
Okay.
could be anything, right? And also communicate transparently. These are all the aspects involved in cricket. And there is a thin line of difference between leadership and then captaincy.
Okay. Leadership is strategy, captaincy is execution. That's your headline.
Yeah.
Okay. Viv, your philosophy?
Um, I think it's all of that together, right? And similar to what Santu said, I was in a position in before I joined Jaguars. I was in a different team, and a similar situation where the team had actually broken apart. There was nobody, and we had to pull the team together. Fortunately, being a bowler, I happened to win a bat and win a match for the team, right? Out of nowhere, I made some 40 odd runs in some 20 odd balls or something like that, or 15 odd balls, and won the team, and the team was elated. They must have seen a win after a long time. So they started believing that I can actually pull the team together, form the team, and that time my passion was riding high. It was a new, can I say, a new high for me, not this kind of the recent kind of highs, but a different kind of a high which I got. And the opportunity was there to pull the team together. And from there to now, the way I look at captaincy is it is multiple things. First and foremost, you play different roles at different points of time. At times you're a leader, at times you are in execution, at times you're a counselor, you are actually counseling people, at times you're motivating people, at times you are confiding in people, at times you're pushing people, you're pulling people, like Santu said, sometimes you pull people into the team because you really need that playing 11. So there's a lot of different roles you have to play at different points of time. Now, one very important thing is you cannot copy leadership, right? Leadership
Brilliant.
has to come from within, and it is different for different people. You can copy traits, you can copy little bit of strategies, little bit of ideas and suggestions, but your leadership style is your own, and you have to, can I say, pull together your leadership style depending on your team, depending on your circumstance.
Okay.
So that's my submission.
Excellent.
Just to add on to Wave. So when you talk about the captains, your ideal captain, right? There are certain traits that I actually came across. So one is you need to lead from the front. You need to show what it requires for the entire team to do. Second thing is take responsibility, whether it is a win or a lose. The result shouldn't matter. And even though it is your team who let you down, you take that ownership. Third thing is you always understand individual personalities and traits before you actually juggle around between them. And that's when you will understand what level of like what we've said, what level of gyan you need to give to a X person against a Y person. So until and unless you know about this, right? So you will not become a good captain, or people will not accept you as a captain.
Absolutely, that's right. And a good point. In fact, also captaincy is not always a comparative role, right? As in, am I a good captain than Santu, or Santu is a good captain than Viv? It is more of a capacity role, right? To what is the stretching limit, and what is the stretching limit of your team in different conditions, different situations, right?
Mm.
How well they can accommodate. That kind of capacity also defines what the captain is. Because see, I mean, simple. I mean, we saw a lot of names, right? I mean, I would say MSD versus Kohli or Kane versus Richards and a lot of things, right? So we'll come to that. I mean, that's the first thought I got. When we say this versus this in two names, we are comparing the captains, may not be always right, because every captain has a capacity to himself, and he's leading a different team with variations in capacity, and it depends on the day as well, right? I mean, it's a question of 11 people clicking or 10 people clicking apart from the captain. So that's a valid point to be considered too.
Understood. That's a great segue on one of the viewer question from Chitu, right? He
Yeah,
asked
yeah.
saying the success rate is the only yardstick to measure a good captain or a bad captain. So what's your view on that?
I would say I'll just finish up soon. So multiple pillars. I mean, I would say the individual strength is what I spoke about, the team strength, right? That's one pillar to be considered. And second is the tenure provided, right? You give me a long tenure, and I would gain experience being a captain, and I'll give you results at some point when I know the tricks and trade. You give me a short span, okay, 3 matches, series done. You need to win the series. I may or may not, depending on the team and the situation. And captaincy era, right? For example, I mean, you might see when I'm a captain, for example, and I'm in the era of Clive Lloyd, boss, I can't compete against Clive Lloyd. It's simple enough, right? And with people like Richards and Garner in Clive Lloyd's team, and then I have a different team, I won't be able to compete. There is a kind of difference in capacity as well in between two captains during a particular era. And then the team rapport. What is the rapport I have with the team, right? Is my team listening to me, right? And at the same time, whatever I'm saying, is the plan being executed? Are they taking the right sense? Even that counts. And decision making, it's more of a situation awareness. What at what time I need to take what decisions. The team as well, what time they need to decide to kind of go against the captain's decision in the right way, right? And there need to be a collaborative mindset, right? I mean, it's not only a single man play, it's not only a captain who will be taking a decision, but at the same time, the entire team, uh, they decide upon a particular strategy, plan A, or if that doesn't work, plan B. Fine, if both the plans fail, fine, sit and talk, what is the plan for the next upcoming matches,
Yeah,
right? So all these aspects decide what the captain is. I mean, how what is success rate the captain can be credited for.
got it. Other thoughts?
So maybe I can go next, Santo, if that's okay.
Yes,
So
yes.
I think that the success metric is a very big metric to decide, the effectiveness of a captaincy. To me, that is the fundamental and the most important. I would say if there are about 5 metrics, this metric is about 50-60% weightage, right? Because uh, see, there are a lot of things that a captain needs to do to reach that metric. And I agree with Srikanth that it can't be based on 3 matches or 5 matches. We are talking about success metric based on at least a comparable amount of matches where a person has been able to captain. It could be, say, 50 plus matches. I don't know the minimum threshold, but it should be a good number to start with. And to me, the metric, right, the success metric is an outcome of captaincy. And this starts actually with many things ahead of actually coming onto the field, right? This involves right from the time you're selecting the players as part of the probable 20, as part of the probable 15. How are you training with them? How are you coaching with them? What is the role that you have in mind? Because captaincy starts much earlier. People just think captaincy is on the field. No, it starts much earlier. If I ask Santu, he'll tell that even before the match, he would have already planned whom to ball, where to ball, whom to bat, which number to bat. It starts from there. It starts from recognizing the strengths and weaknesses of players, identifying who should ball at number 3 or who should open with the new ball, who should play at number 3 batting or who should be at number 5, who should play at number 6. Right? A lot of these factors are important, and that's where it starts from. Once it starts from there, then how do you actually have a strategy for that particular game against a particular opponent? Then how do you execute that? And when you're executing things, never think no 2 games are same. It will never be the same game. I mean, it will not go as per your strategy. How are you able to think and make quick changes? Be on your feet. These things are what makes a great captain, because these things will give you that success metric. These things will help you to reach there. Right? And I can give the example of Stephen Fleming. He was New Zealand's longest captain from what I remember. But is he a great captain? I'm sorry, I do not agree at all. He has never been able to take his team till the World Cup final. Right? Whereas look at Ken Williamson. Look at where he's brought the team from and where he's got the team into. So this is an example. So there are a lot of things which go before just we look at the metric, but the metric is an outcome, right? And the hard reality is that captains have to be measured by that metric. Otherwise, no point in just saying that, okay, you're a great captain, the team is great. We all want the World Cup. We all want the cup. And remember, the images which stay in our mind are the images of Alan Border holding the 87 cup, Imran Khan 92 cup, Ranatunga, Kapil Dev and the Lords, MS Dhoni. These are the images which stand, and these are what are the great captains. So that's a reality. It's a tough bullet to bite, but that's a reality.
It's a great point. And the only thing which you missed out is Ricky Ponting and Mark Taylor lifting the cup with Santu.
Twice. So thanks SD and Viv for bringing in all the points, right? Only to sum up and then end this, right? So I personally feel the parameters, right, to identify a good captain or his capability is the winning percentage. Like what SD said, it cannot be based on 1 series or 2 series. It should be, any captain should be given quite a good amount of time to gel with the team, to understand and then move forward. Even if you look at IPLs, right? Why do people come at least like about a month and a half before to the nets, just to make sure that they have that compatibility with other players and make sure that they go into the ground as a team and win the matches for them. So having said that, winning percentage is one. Second thing is the number of trophies won. It may be the series that you have won, or it may be the ICC trophies that you have won. So like what we've said, right? Stephen Fleming against Kane Williamson. So I also think about Ponting, Mark Taylor, and even MS, right? So bringing in 3 ICC trophies in a series, right, is not a joke. And having that confidence in the team and then taking the youngest of the teams to the World Cups and then winning a trophy is not a joke. And the third thing is, what is the impact that you bring into the team? So once you step in, and then what changes you make for the success of the team matters a lot. When the team wins, that's when you call a captain as a winning captain. It doesn't mean that only you win and the team doesn't. So it's the team together who makes a person or a captain a better captain. That's my take.
And just to add, Suman, just to add to that, right? Take all the examples. You take 1983, Kapil Dev. right? And if you've seen some of Krishnamachari Srikanth's interviews, which happen in some of the talk shows, he keeps on hammering one point. It's not for couple. We could have not thought about it. We were thinking on the eve of the West Indies final with West Indies. West Indies, they have won 2 times World Cup. What can we play? How can we play? We'll book our ticket and go from London to some other US. That's what they had planned. But Kapil, they've had that belief. No, we will win. These are the things which inspire the player, saying that okay, they instill the belief that it is possible. Even if it is remote, it is possible. Take the example of Imran Khan, 92 World Cup. How the Pakistani teams were and how the teams rallied behind Imran. I still remember Imran could not throw from the long off boundary because of a poor shoulder. But how his team rallied behind him, right? And I can just go on with so many examples of how teams have actually rallied behind captains have been played that important role.
These are great examples. And look, no talk show is complete without talking about RCB. So here's the controversial question, which again comes from viewership.
Yeah.
So Kohli hasn't won a ICC trophy or an RCB trophy. So define his captaincy.
Who
I
wants
can
to
go
go
first.
first?
I'm not very popular on this. I respect Kohli as a batsman. He is the world's greatest batsman, undoubtedly, and I believe he's poised to even cross Sachin's scores. And I'm hoping for that. I'm waiting for that. As a captain, he brings in tremendous amount of inspiration, aggression, and that hunger for winning every game. Very important. Aggression, being able to inspire, leads from the front, and wants that winning spirit, that hunger, never die hunger is there. But his strategy and on the ground thinking needs a lot of work. And I think that is where he struggles. Somewhere he needs to partner with a better coach, a coach who can contradict him. And this is what I learned in corporate leadership. Those who contradict you are not your enemies. Those who have different thoughts are not your enemies. They're actually helping you with different views, right? Take their views, take their inputs. I think that is not happening. I don't think he is getting that pushback. I mean, Ravi Shastri as a person probably is a very easygoing guy, and probably so is Stephen Fleming. So, not Stephen Fleming. I'm sorry,
Mike
I'm
Henson.
missing. Sorry,
Mike Henson.
quite agreeable. But somebody has to stand up and it's okay to be contradicted. They're not bad guys. So I think that's where it's missing. I think strategy and on the field thinking is something. A very simple example I can give you again is when we had the bowl out in one of the tournaments against Pakistan, right? The 3 bowlouts which we won comfortably. If you see over there, MSD was standing right at the stumps and not behind. That's an example of on the ground thinking, so that your bowler does not get distracted between where he has to bowl and where the stumps are. It just gives you one target. That's a very classic example of on the spot thinking and adapting. That is missing, a big thing which is missing with BK,
Yeah.
sadly.
Also, cricket, it was a probably a slow game, maybe in 70s, but it has evolved a lot. Now it's too fast, right? So the game is fast, and then added on the pressure from media, from the team, from crores of people, right? These are a lot of things which can impact anyone's mind. See, I mean, simple. Captain is not a software which can spike the performance with few codes. He is a human being with muscle and bones in his head, right? So he'll get impacted to some extent if there is a lot of media pressure, one, and a lot of self expectation, and team expecting him to perform, the coaches expecting him to perform, not only IPL but also in international level coaches, right? So all these aspects also can kind of make a severe dent on any kind of a player's mind, not only a captain, and then can hamper his performance. And it is possible. Simple example, I mean, in our corporate as well, right? I mean, if no one is going to kind of talk to me saying do whatever you want, to go play however you want, that day I'm sure I would have played some crazy shots out of the books, right? But if there is someone sitting next to me and saying, no, this is how you have to play, I'm definitely sure I'm back to the pavilion within the next over or two, right? So it's more of a kind of external factors affecting the person also is is accountable, if at all Kohli is being talked about as why he's not winning any cups.
Mhm. So, Santu, is it the team or is it the captaincy? What's impacting RCB?
So I would say it's a mixture of both, Suman. So it starts from the initial auction. From there, it starts where you're not picking up. You know your batting strength, right? And you have a weakness of bowling. So why don't you pick up bowlers? That's point number one. Second is after you get your players, are you prepping them for victory or are you prepping them to heat the bench? I don't know. So you have so many people who have the potential to win games for you, but not given right opportunity at the right time, right? This is where your management and the captain needs to be in sync, which I don't see in RCB. It's happening in RCB from the time VK took the captaincy from KP or even Kumble, basically, right? From there, we've seen the same trend happening where we have a good batting lineup, but we lose because of the bowling. Second, when I'm not great to talk about VK's captaincy or his ability, but what I've observed from him is VK always goes with plan A. He doesn't have a plan B. And when the plan A fails, he's blank. He doesn't know what to do, what to react, especially in fast-paced games like T20. He doesn't have any idea of what needs to be done. That's where MS comes into picture. All the time, MS was behind the wicket, guiding VK what needs to be done in that situation. Unfortunately, RCB doesn't have a leader like MS who is able to guide VK for success. That's what I believe in, Suman. And again, to be a good leader, right, you need to also understand what it is to be a follower as well. If you are not able to see yourself as a follower, I don't think you'll become a good leader.
That's a great point. And just to add, what just the icing on the cake, if I may say, is I struggle. Most of us struggle to understand how is that players when they move out of RCB, they are
They start playing
extraordinary,
amazingly.
exemplary performance. How is that possible? The same players, and sometimes is it, I started getting the question: is it that they were played at the wrong position, and so they did not fire, or what is it?
Shane
Baffling.
Watson, he actually opened innings for RCB as well. So it is not about the position; it's about the freeness that has been given to you, or probably that could be the reason, right?
Let's talk
And
about yesterday.
majority of the
Yeah,
players who moved from RCB to CSK, everybody have performed
I'm
every
tempted.
match.
I'm tempted about yesterday and today. Our batting, right? There's no pressure.
Yes,
Suddenly we're playing. Everybody is playing. Everybody's contributing 20-30, 20-30. Big difference.
exactly.
Big difference, yeah. And I think if we talk any more about Virat Kohli, all four of us will lose a friend in our JPK. So I think we should move on.
Great respect to him.
Yeah,
Seriously.
he's a fantastic player. I love him.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, so that's a good segue. Now, Preetham asks a very interesting question. If you also notice, all of our conversations so far, except Imran Khan, all of them were batsmen. So, what might be the reason we don't see more of bowlers becoming captains in international cricket?
I'll start. So to me, right, as in uh, more of a mindset from the selection committee, right? So bowlers need to focus more on stamina, endurance, fitness, toughness, and each cartilage, each tissue and bones in the legs, arms, and shoulders are put into stress when they're bowling. It be a spinner or a fast bowler. Upon that, probably this is just I would say a fair assumption. Probably they don't want to stress the bowler even more with mental stress of the captaincy role. Though there are some captains who are bowlers like Walsh and Akram and Imran Khan, we can consider them as some kind of a genuine exceptions and genuine players. But uh, the rate at which the bowlers aren't captains, this could be a reason. A bowlers needs a dedicated kind of quality time on the ground, and probably also it depends on the physique. I mean, if it's a tall fast bowler, right? He bowls for 10 15 overs in a test match or in a one day, and probably he may be kind of standing the third man. Generally, a captain needs to be in the inner circle, the best position to kind of look at the game closely, right? And and probably his fielding skills or his kind of uh, skills related to understanding the batting could be not up to the mark when compared to the captain who is a pure batsman, right? So this question is it's very tough to answer, I would say. I mean, if if I say I had a panel of say 10 selectors and all were bowlers, probably bowlers would be captains in the next two for the next 2 years, right? It's a mix and match. And if you see our selection committee, it could be Sandeep Patil, he was a batter, and MSK Prasad was a batsman wicket keeper, and I don't know, I mean, who was our selectors. And if there was more number of bowlers in the committee, probably they would think in a different way as well, right?
So maybe, and it's a very good view which Srikanth shared. And maybe let's also look at the game as well, the format of the game. See, if you see, largely it's a batsman's game, right? If I take an example of a one-day match, by and large, we will see scores of 200 plus. I don't want to say 300 plus, but 200 plus. I don't think we would have ever seen more than a small percentage of matches where the scores are below 100, right? Or if where it's a purely bowlers game where the bowlers have rocked. So it is predominantly a batsman's game. And when we talk about batsman's game, what happens is that there's a tendency to carry the bat throughout the inning. So you're talking about a longer duration, whereas a bowler is only having a 10 overs to bowl. And to add to it, the points which Srikanth said is very important, because you don't want a captain to be in the field thinking about what should I ball next. You want a captain to be in the field who is thinking who should ball next, who is the right person. You want a captain to be analyzing the game, the way the game is going, rather than worrying about what am I bowling bad, or if the captain ends up bowling a over which goes for 25 runs. Right? The worry should not be on his head, oh God, I've lost 25 runs. What do I do next? No, it should be about what is required for the game. So maybe that's another view.
Good point, Viv. So, in the past, we have seen great legends like Imran, Wasim Akram, whether it could be Kapil Dev. Even recently, we've seen Jason Holder taking his team to success as well as a bowler. But what I feel is a batsman or a wicket keeper is well suited to captain the team. There are some reasons to it. Wicket keeper can actually advise the bowlers looking at the batsman, how he is playing, right? That's where MSD actually rocked as a captain. And second, being a batsman, you can advise your bowler how a batsman is playing on the field, your opposition is playing. So you can advise your bowler how to bowl and where to bowl so that you can pick up that wicket. So that's where VK is there, but not completely. And if you look at Kane, if you look at anyone who is leading their national team, right? They are trying to do the same thing. They are trying to understand how a batsman is playing, how to pick their wicket. So if you look at it, there are so many analysis which has come out. There are so many softwares which has been routed through to the national teams, which actually gives you how a batsman, how a bowler is actually bowling, how are they picking up the wickets, how a batsman is scoring runs. So those are also to an added advantage. So I believe that a batsman or a wicket keeper, right, is suited as a captain.
Okay,
On a
interesting
funnier
topic.
note, a captain and the wicketkeeper are like partners in partners in
Crime.
crime, I would say, right? Right. So, in just a simple example, probably Santu might remember the ANZ quarterfinal against ANZ in Infosys. They needed around 6 runs to win and 8 wickets down. And the ball was in the covers, and then Santu threw the ball to me for a run out. I grabbed it and then took off the bails. And then I realized that I grabbed it while taking off the bails. I never had the ball in my hand. I just hit the wicket with my hands, and then they gave that run out. And then the next ball, the last wicket fell. So I mean, I told Santu that this happened. I didn't have the ball in my hand when I took off the bails, right? So then that's a very funny relation between a captain and the wicket keeper, always.
Thanks for
And wicket keepers are always a guide to the captain, standing behind the wickets, right? They are the perfect person to set the field and to also guide the captain.
Yeah, look at also the Munaf Patel as such, right? I mean, coming back to some of the strategy and MS thought process as a captain success. Munaf, when he landed on the scene, was supposed to be a tear away fast bowler. That's how they were calling him. But probably at that point of time, MS felt that this is not the time. We don't really need a fast bowler who can, who's really ripping through. We need somebody who needs a ball wicket to wicket. The 2011 World Cup, which we won, Munaf played a very key role. He took about 11, 12 wickets in that out of some 7, 8 matches. And he played a very important role even in the finals. Of the wicket to wicket, the length which he bowled, the miserly length, made a lot of difference. Right? So such an example of a captain, how he's been able to mold your player accordingly to success.
It's a great example. And just switching gears a little bit, Santu and I were talking before the session started. What's the view about having same captain for all three formats, or are you for three different formats, three different captains?
So I'll go on this. I was discussing with Suman about much before this, right? So England have been successful having three captains for three different formats for Test, T20, and ODIs. They were successful to an extent. But if you look at any other side, let's talk about New Zealand for that matter. Kane has been doing really good in all the three formats. So if we change that format, Kane being good for limited overs, and somebody like Ross Taylor picking up for Test match, and probably a bowler who can do it for T20, will that go well? I doubt, because somebody who you have already seen as a captain, who is already mentoring you, who's already hand-holding you towards success, and then knowing you in and out, your personalities and traits, who has been spending so much of time in developing that skill set with you. You suddenly switch gears to somebody whom you don't know, or whom you're not comfortable with. Will you find success? I doubt it. So even with the Indian team, what people have been talking about Rohit Sharma picking up white ball captaincy and let Virat do it for the red ball, and probably somebody pick it up for T20s. I don't think it works. Rohit Sharma has been doing good in IPLs because he has the strongest team being picked up in the auction. It is not his leadership that we are looking at. It is the team. Even the top four fails, the tail actually gives him support. So even if you look last 3 years IPL, right? This is what is happening. Wherever Mumbai is winning the game, it is that one or the other person is coming for the rescue for their team. But it is not the same with other teams, right? So my thought is one person picking up the entire nation's all formats would be a success. May not be enough, but probably given some time, it'll be in all the three formats.
Okay, so I have slightly different views there, and the reason
I
I
knew
have,
it.
yeah, you know me very well by now, Santu. So the reason I have slightly different views is that um, because of the workload. So the load today is too much on the players, and obviously the heavier load on the captain. Unlike earlier, we are now playing. This is an exceptional year, 2020, where not much cricket has been played. But otherwise, a usual calendar year, there's too much of cricket being played. That's a reality. From a commercial angle perspective, there is a very heavy load on the captain. That's a reality, right? And captain also, there is a heavy element of insecurity that if I don't be a captain here, I might lose my spot. So captain, that's a disadvantage of becoming a captain. You always have that insecurity behind you, because if I don't be a captain here, I might lose my spot, right? And it so happens you start thinking that you're on the team because you're the captain. No, that's not the reality. So one is that, right? The load. Second thing, I think this varies from individual to individual. Like as Santu said, Kane Williamson is a classic example where he can handle it, right? But not necessarily that is true for everybody else. It varies. And I think we have to assess each captain accordingly and decide. For example, if you feel this person is not winning great in say 2020 formats, not doing great in say 50 over formats one day, then take that decision, take that call. Then what you're doing is you're allowing that captain to free up his or her his mind, his or her mind, to focus on their game, which is their batting or their bowling, which is very important. Ultimately, what we don't want is the burdency of captaincy, right, to impact them so much that their game gets affected. And to me, I'm really worried about Virat Kohli today in 2020s in RCB. I really want him to score tons and tons of runs. And don't worry about captaincy, because probably it's not working. Give it a break for a couple of years. Let somebody else manage. You plunder runs. That's what you're a run machine. You're expert in. Focus on that, right? And then come back and see. Sometimes it's a good thing to give a break and come back. So I feel it varies from person to person, individual to individual. And because strategies change, grounds are changing, locations are changing, teams are changing. So it's too much of can I say complexities and variables today. So it's really it's madness to be a captain for all three formats with so much of cricket being played.
Yeah,
It's a
I
great.
would I would stay neutral on that. So they can have different captains for different formats, right? Provided there is no negative impact on the player's mindset and there is no negative impact on the results, right? So it depends. I mean, if a captain is scoring well in T20 and he understands how T20 can be handled, he is the captain for T20. Good enough. And also he's doing good for Test and one ODIs too. Well and good. Like Kohli, if at all he's leading in all three formats and he's giving results and team is fine, why not give it a shot and give him my extended run? Because I mean, what Vivek told, Santosh told, Mumbai Indians leading MI for IPL wins. You have a pool of players whom you don't have to groom a lot. They are champions in their own teams. For example, Kohli, he has to kind of groom, talk, fill up enthusiasm in every player because of the losses in RCB. I mean, it is more of kind of getting them from the grassroots and winning the IPL, if at all they reach some final stage, would be a very uphill task because he has that kind of a players who were auctioned. Point one, right? And he has that kind of a players who has X number of record behind their domestic circuit, right? So a lot of things are there, but captains for each and every format is it's more of a I would say a point in time call, but cannot be a strategic decision that okay, this is how we can do.
Okay. Interest of time, there are two more questions I want to get to. One of the questions came from Gautam, which is a good segue for this. Does the best player always make the best captain?
Hmm.
No.
Is that Gautam Gambhir?
So,
So I don't think so. I think the captain makes best players or brings the best out of players.
It's
Okay,
11 now.
so that's what is the role of a captain. And in that process of bringing the best out of players, if he himself also excels, absolutely, right? That's part of the process. But that's what defines captaincy or leadership. You are developing others, and in the process, you develop yourself.
okay.
I mean,
I
take
think
the
many
example
many
of
great.
take the example of even Sehwag, right? We all know, right, that he was not an opener. He was playing at number 6 or something, and the captain took a choice at that point of time to make him play at opening. Ganguly took the call, took a calculated risk. Let's try him out, and it worked. And then that confidence was given to him. So go ahead. See, the very classic example of how you spot talent or potential and take it over there. Give that opportunity.
So the
Yeah, I mean, cap.
great of the greatest people like SRT or Brain Lara or any people who used to score runs for their team, right? When given an opportunity to lead the team, they weren't good because they either couldn't take the load of leading the team, selecting, making, grooming them, being with them. They couldn't take that load. Second thing is they either flunk in scoring runs,
Hmm.
so they couldn't score big at the same time. So the pressure started mounting up, and then that's when uh, SRT, right, Sachin, for that matter, where he was given that role of captaining the national team, and then That's if you look at that graph of where he couldn't score the runs, it is during his captaincy era,
That's right.
where he had the tremendous pressure taking the mount from a successful captain, and then leading that was a humongous task given to him, which he couldn't actually.
Okay.
Yeah, there are chances wherein a good performing captain may not lift trophies, and our least performing captain may also have a wardrobe of trophies. Right? It
Correct.
depends on what kind of cards he plays on that particular day during a crucial match, and how he turns the situation towards his team's favor. Right, and that's where smart captaincy come into place. He's not scoring well and good. That's fine. He'll pick up two people within his team who can score for him. Right, and that's it. I mean, he takes the credit. Team takes the credit. All happy.
Okay. And
Yeah. To me, take the example of Arjuna Ranatunga, for example, the '96 World Cup. Right, it's a classic case. Till '96 World Cup, um, Jayasuriya and Kaluvidarna were like ordinary players. Look at that strategy which they brought in, and probably they borrowed it from that the New Zealand strategy where great batch was there, right? I think that pinch hitting or hitting 100 runs in 15 overs. Today it looks very ordinary, but that time hitting 100 runs in
yeah.
15 overs like a wow, right? That strategy by Ranatunga, and Ranatunga was not a great batsman. He was a good middle order batsman, nothing flamboyant and no tall centuries and all of that. But how he was able to rally the team, rally a big player like Arvinda De Silva, also playing that very crucial anchor role in between, made a big difference on how they won the World Cup hands down.
And you
That
know
was
what?
like,
During that '96 phase when they won the World Cup, and this is what my coach says, Sri Lankan team didn't have had that kind of a well-equipped gym and a lot of facilities. I mean, they were all working people. They had few weights and few cycles to kind of enhance their fitness. They played football to kind of improve their stamina. Right? That's the
Endurance.
level they came from.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
and
And
and we always say that, and somewhere, Chris, going back also, sometimes we say that you have a great team, so the captains, it's easier for a captain, right? I really appreciate Ricky Ponting on this, because if you see from 99, 2003, 2007, three World Cups they won on the trot. And it is not that in these three World Cups, they had all the star players with them throughout. It is not that the McGraws and the Shane Warnes were there in all the three World Cups. And correct my memory, I'm sorry, I'm a little bad with all of stats, but the way they won, right? And that's where Ricky Ponting being a captain, right? He's an exception where a captain, a top order batsman leading the team. But what he did is he continued to let the great guns be as they are. He did not meddle too much with them. You are great guys. You work, you continue, you deliver your goods. Newcomers, develop newcomers, build that pipeline, right? Get that pipeline. And that's where, to me, right, as a as a when we look at a captaincy across three formats, it's important that we have different a good set of teams for a test. So when we talk about test, we should have at least 6 to 7 batsmen that we can look at exclusively from a test perspective,
hmm.
right? And that those guys will only play test. Like today we talk about Ajinkya Rahane and we talk only about Cheteshwar Pujara and probably about Vihari. But what more? Who else? We need to have that 6 or 7 players ready. Similarly for one day and similarly for T20. So that if one fails, we are actually rotating there and not moving somebody from different formats of the game. This gives stability to them. They are clear on what they need to execute. And this is what where when you have different captains, right? Sometimes it helps. I'm not saying you need to have captains, but depending on the capabilities and the success rate, that really helps.
Okay. Speaking of performances of captain, if you have to give an example of a standout batting performance or a bowling spell of a captain, each of you, who would that be?
Ricky Ponting. I'll not forget the 2003 massacre which he did right from the first, was it the first over or that century which he put leading from the front. I cannot forget that, right? And
Awesome.
but this goes back to the point where leading from the front, right, is so important from a captain. I can give you two more examples. I'm sorry, I'm not hogging the limelight here,
Fine, go ahead.
but one is obviously MS Dhoni coming in that 2011 World Cup ahead of that when Murli was bowling, when Virat's wicket fell and Yuvraj was not, left hand against left hand. Murli is very effective, deadly. So he goes. right? That was an example of leading from the front. And I also remember Santu, we used to play against one other team, which were like our arch nemesis, right? And Santu used to send me at number 3, and he used to come at number 6 or 7. He used to be a hitter. But that particular match, we had a couple of quick wickets, and he came in at number 4. And the way he batted that day, he scored some probably 70, 80 runs, completely took away the match from the opponents. And I was not playing that well, so I just anchored over there, and he took the game away. Is an example of leading from the front. So that's really important, right? As a captain, wherever your position is, you have to be able to lead. And your performance is equally important, be it keeping, be it that extra catch which you take, be it that extra 40 runs which you make, or that bowling which you do. Absolutely important. You need not be the man of the match, but your contribution is important. That is where I think towards the end, MS failed in his tests. He was not contributing
Correct.
enough with his bat. That's why they felt he's not doing great.
I take the 2011 World Cup finals. I really liked how MS thought about Murli bowling to a left-hander, and then he promoted himself 2 levels up just to make sure that he takes his team to the winning streak. So I really admire what MS actually thought of. So again, coming back, right, Steve Waugh. If you look back and see how Steve Waugh used to actually juggle around between his batsmen, sending Michael Bevan at number 3 just to make sure that he holds the wicket at one end so that the other person can actually go, right? So there are some great people who thought differently, but again, a standout would be Ricky Ponting, Steve Waugh, MSD, and nowadays you also think about Virat Kohli, right? So he's trying his luck to actually play his cards, so one of them at least work for him. So he's still trying. I would say he's young as a captain, probably giving him a couple more years. I think you can see a better captain in him, leading the world's best cricket team.
Another 2 people, and Srikanth, sorry, I'll give you the opportunity, but Owen Morgan.
Yeah.
Oh,
Really, the modern great captains. He's one. He's held on to his batting. Beautiful, dependable, number 4, number 5. He will come and score. He will
but
come
not
and
consistent. That's the only problem
consistent,
with Einmal.
which is that, yeah. But really one guy. And another guy which I really appreciate, going back to the bowler discussion, is Holder from West Indies. Talking about how a bowler can become a captain. Another case, it is there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to me, Kane Williamson, I'm really impressed the way he leads. For the World Cup match against India, I think the day one before the rain kind of interrupted the play, they were going too slow, and all of them thought, okay, fine, they won't cross 200. He steadied the ship along with Ross Taylor, and and finally they had 233 on the board and on a seeming wicket. That's where the panic started. Couple of wickets down for India, and fine, they started to kind of think, okay, fine, do we have to book the tickets back?
Okay, that's good, good, good. And then
Great point,
last
Kanta.
question.
Great point.
Yeah, it is a great point, Ken Williamson. This is for Santu from Ashu Rora. Says, does captaining a sports team help leading a team at work or personal life?
To an extent, it does. So one or couple of things which I take back from the captaincy to the corporate environment is knowing your team, bringing them together, and then knowing their ups and downs, their strength, playing their strength, and then hiding their weaknesses on the ground and even in the corporate life, right? Make sure that you capitalize their strength and then slowly pep them and give them certain trainings on how to overcome their weakness to or developmental areas to strengths. Uh, Give them directions. So even on the field, you are actually giving directions to your bowlers what needs to be done at that particular situation, or while batting with someone, right? So you're giving them directions. Okay, you can go, and I'll anchor the role here. So there are certain things that you carried back to your home as well. So probably I would say it's like a thin line of difference between what you're doing on the field in corporate culture and as well as at home. It's just that small tweak you need to make in your modulation of voice or how you actually your body language. Probably on the ground, I'm too aggressive, but if you look me on in the corporate between the four walls, I'm so calm. I don't think when I shouted at my team, I don't remember, but on the field, every day, every person have got it from me for sure.
Good insights. Good insights. Look, at the end of the day, this is a team sport, right? I think that's what it is about. I know we are very critical about how the captain should be, all of us, but at the end of the day, it's not an easy job, especially being a country like India. Virat Kohli is not an easy job captaining. So this has been a fantastic conversation. Like 90s cricket, we can go on forever. I'm sure there'll be part two, but Vivi, thank you very much. SD, Santu, super insights. I'm sure our viewers will love this episode as much as I did. Thanks again for your time. And last but not least, just spend some time with your families for the New Year's. Have a wonderful New Year and do subscribe to our channel when you get a chance. This is turning out to be a great conversation for all. And stay tuned for more interesting visitors in the next couple of weeks or so. I'm sure we'll love it. But thanks, Vivi, SD, and Santu again for your time, and Happy New Year.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Suman. Happy New Year,
Thank you,
guys.
Suman. Thank
Yep.
you, guys.
Take care.